Marianne Corr, Vice President and the Robert K. Johnson General Counsel, is poised to wrap up a decades-long career as a lawyer, the past 17 of which have been spent at Notre Dame. It's a path she found somewhat unexpectedly as an undergraduate student here on campus, or rather a vocation she embraced during her early days at the university, never dreaming she'd return to practice here. I'm Jenna Liberto, and you're listening to ND Works. My conversation with Marianne picks up as she begins the last few months of her time here. Okay, I'm recording. Are you ready to chat a little bit?
Sure.
I thought we could start by just talking a little bit about your life right now. So you're a couple of months from retirement. You've had this outstanding career at Notre Dame and before Notre Dame, certainly. So just take us through your mindset right now.
That's interesting. I have to say I'm just overwhelmed with a feeling of gratitude. Uh, there's of course I'm going to miss people, but at the same time I'm excited for whatever is ahead, and but really this is a great time for reflection, sort of, and I think back on everything and I just feel incredibly grateful for the career that I've had, the people I've met, the experiences, and really capped quite unexpectedly for me by this chance to be back at Notre Dame to help however I can in achieving its mission, and which is now coming up on 17 years. I can't believe that. So I feel blessed, grateful, excited, and at the same time, I will miss people.
So you didn't necessarily expect that you would have part of your career back at Notre Dame?
No, not at all.
So would undergrad you be surprised then?
Very much, yeah, very
What's
much.
that? Say more.
Very much. Yeah, I mean, my career, I started off, I was with a big law firm that really focuses on corporate law. And I was then so I was there for just about 13 years and another 13 at a big multinational conglomerate, managing their litigation. And so, yeah, this seemed so different and out of the blue, but so wonderful. And I remember telling my parents the only regret I had was that I didn't get here sooner. So.
Let's talk a little bit about the role of in-house counsel for an institution like Notre Dame, not just the differences in higher education, but then what makes Notre Dame distinctly Notre Dame as a leading Catholic research university that we are. So how would you describe the role of your department?
So there's a couple of things baked into that question, I think. I do think that you can't really talk about um, my role, but I would assume just everybody's role here without reference to the overall mission. I think that the clarity and the consistency of that really, guys, it just has such an important role in itself in guiding our thinking. Just knowing in my gut what the right thing to do is and how we're going to get there. But the role of an in-house counsel office anywhere, and it's the same here, is to partner with those of our colleagues to understand their goals, and to give advice that is informed by, but not limited to, our legal background and training. We are, our role is to be somewhat impartial and to give our best advice, and then to help people get to what they want to do. And where, if it ever came up that we felt that, a goal was not really aligned with the mission, to kind of work through that with them in partnership with them. So it's an interesting, I say that my office is a very sophisticated small law firm. Terrific, talented lawyers who have deep expertise in different areas and work very well together. And I believe with our clients all across campus.
Have you seen an evolution at all of the role of your department or the type of situations that you've guided other leaders through during your time here?
Yeah, well, I think the regulatory environment has certainly gotten more complicated. I think that as our research profile has grown, as our global presence has grown, I mean, in my time here, I think that our um, public relations um, have become more sophisticated. And with that comes different types of scrutiny. So all of those things have called for both legal guidance and the kind of partnership, that I was referring to, a strategic partnerships. So yeah, I think there has been an evolution. I don't attribute that to me. I think that's been natural as the university has grown and achieved so many of the aspirations in the last strategic plan, and now kind of evolved into the strategic framework that we're working with now. Um, I hope that the role of the office and the lawyers in the office has only continued to grow in the sense that it would be a mistake, I think, and a waste of talent if the lawyers were seen only as kind of scriveners of something that somebody else has worked out. And I do believe that the credibility of the terrific lawyers in the office has helped establish them more firmly as real partners and counselors to the different clients in a way, again, a natural evolution, but I do think that that has developed over my time here.
And on that note, do you see sort of the next phase of that in the next 10, 20 years? Is there something that's obviously on the horizon when it comes to that evolution or a hope that you might have?
Yeah, I can't pinpoint anything specific, but yeah, I have every confidence that it will continue to evolve. I mean, I echo and firmly believe what both Father John and Father Bob have said, that, for all the greatness Notre Dame has achieved, its best years are still ahead. And that's exciting. And with that comes, more work, more responsibility, more complications that need to be worked through and to be thoughtful about. I mean, look what we're seeing in athletics, in research, in various, a new approach of the new administration in Washington. So, yeah, each of those are going to be more, and others that I can't foresee now will be more demanding and require ever more talent and involvement, and I just do see a steady evolving of the role.
And you mentioned Father John and now Father Bob, and I imagine no one stays at a place for almost 2 decades if they don't have trust and faith in leadership. Um, what would you say about, and you certainly being in that category too as leader at the university, but what would you say about that from your perspective?
I think that's absolutely right. I think you've just captured it. I mean, it's not even just you wouldn't stay in place. It's the energy and the commitment that I think is displayed throughout the organization, and certainly at the leadership levels, but not just there. When I came here, and look, I worked for terrific organizations. I was happy and admired them, and it was great. But there was a depth of appreciation of the mission and people's role in accomplishing that mission here that any organization would just kill for. I mean, look how beautiful the campus is. That's people coming to work every day and putting their heart and soul into try to doing something that they're proud of, and providing an atmosphere for all of us to that helps all of us achieve what we're doing. And so it's just yeah, as I said, it's not just the leadership, but it certainly begins with the leadership.
You touched real briefly on some larger regulatory shifts or changes. Is there that that most significant legal or regulatory change that defines, in a way, your time here?
Well, I mean, I think certainly what we're experiencing now is significant and really in many ways unprecedented. I think that the shift that I've seen most noticeably has probably been the relatively recent decline in how higher education is perceived by the public generally. And with that comes um, taxes. I mean, a real tax on the endowment. With that comes uh, seismic changes in the way college athletics is organized and perceived. Now we're seeing, questions about the value of research conducted by universities, and each of those is certainly important. I would say that the other thing you asked about, and you mentioned, kind of how things have, what would be a hallmark maybe of that time here. Really, the dramatic swings in policies that have affected higher ed, and I'm sure other businesses as well, over the past, 10, 12 years anyway. It seems that with each administration, we almost get whipsawed, and we see it most noticeably in the Title IX administration. So that these changes in policies with deadlines for implementation that are very difficult to meet, it really, that's a big change. There used to be more process around government, the kind of process that I studied as we called it government and international relations major back when I got my degree here, but it's political science. And, there is a process, but lately it seems like it's much more, well, we're seeing it right now, executive orders and things that really affect how we can do business. But I think that what is our saving grace here is the unrelenting focus on trying always to do what's best for our students. And with that sometimes comes, taking some risks and with how we approach these policies. But since we do have that really laser focus, I think that we're in good standing.
Let's talk about your time as a student. Can we go back a little bit further?
Way back into the dark
Yes.
ages.
First of all, which residence hall?
Breen Phillips.
Very good. When did you know you wanted to be a lawyer? Did that happen on campus? Did you make the decision to come here knowing that? Take me back to the.
I ask about that every day, Jenna. Um, no, it kind of evolved. I mean, I think it was something that was on the horizon. I had enjoyed different debating thing. I think people put it in my head. They say, "Oh, you could think about being a lawyer." I like to write. Um, and I think that it it just kind of gradually evolved. I mean, I considered, I took the GMATs as well as the LSATs, the LSAT, to consider whether I would go on into get an MBA, and then I was also thinking about a career in journalism. Um, but I don't know, it just kind of over time just evolved. And no, and I've been very lucky. I think what happened too is that while I was in college, I did have a growing appreciation for the breadth of opportunities that a legal background and education could present. That going to law school and getting a law degree, and it was certainly something that interested me. I mean, among the others, I just, was trying to sort out which among a couple different career paths I might choose. But it seemed to me that getting a law degree would open up lots of opportunities, and that certainly has been true.
Was there a defining moment during your time here as an undergrad, whether it turned out to be related to your future career or not? Was there that defining moment or conversation or relationship that you still think about today?
Oh, so many, right? I mean, really. I've told people before that I was lucky enough, I think it was my senior year, I had a class with Father John Dunn, who was teaching it. And there were so many things that I took from that class that really throughout my life, I thought back on and in trying to make some decisions. I think that one thing that stayed with me from the people I met, both in terms of the faculty and my friends, was the importance of having really leading an intentional life. Whether I've succeeded in that or not, it is something that, you want to make, you have the one life, you want to make it count. And I thought that was such an important lesson. It certainly was not at all inconsistent with the way that my family, I mean, the first and the most important teachers, but to have it talked about so freely and openly here, I think was really, really important and in my overall formation. But I can't say that there was any particular conversation. We sat around and chatted about all kinds of things.
Sure, sure. Let's talk more about that intentionality. Um, Talk about your decision to leave a Fortune 500 company and come back to Notre Dame.
Oh, uh, yeah. Uh, you know, like so many big decisions. I don't know if you've experienced the same thing. The first of the idea is so shocking. No, no, and then intriguing, and then, all the reasons why not, but there's some pull. And I'd always loved Notre Dame. I would come back most years for a football game and always came to my reunions. In fact, I had been at one of my reunions here, I think the week before I got the call from a recruiter about the job. And so I was not, I was happy where I was. I would say, I just referenced that there were so many lessons that I took from that one class with Father John Dunn. And by the way, I was so lucky because I saw him, I didn't really know him. He taught these huge classes, but I was able to tell him when I came back that how important he had been to me. But I remember that uh, he used to say, beware in life the deadly clear path, which was just like, don't stay on a train just because you're on it. If that's your life, you've got to make your own, you've got to make your life. And when that recruiter called and I thought, no, I mean, I'm all set here. But I kept thinking my life is a deadly clear path and I wanted something more. And so I was very lucky when she called and said, well, why don't you just come on out for an interview? And I did. And once I came out and met people, it's like what so many people say, I was sold. And then I was like, I've got to get this job. What if I don't get the job? No, it's been great. It was really, yeah, as I said, I certainly it was came out of the blue, not something I expected, but it's been wonderful.
Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that, Marianne. Will you talk a little bit about some of the valuable relationships you've had now here during your career time at Notre Dame?
My gosh, too many to count. Really, I mean, certainly I would put the terrific team of lawyers that I work with very high up there, very accomplished, dedicated. I see how hard they work and how committed they are to the university every single day, and that's been wonderful. My colleagues on the President's Leadership Council, certainly the two presidents I've worked for and with. But I mean, John Affleck Graves, when he was here, was a dear friend and mentor. Tom Barris, somebody who taught me so much and I deeply admire. And now, who would have thought that two such terrific people could be succeeded by two more such terrific people in John McGreevy and Shannon. So that's been terrific. As I say, I just can't say enough about um, the real privilege of getting to know and work with Father John and Father Bob, but also, I mean, the trustees, that I've come to know and I see their dedication. Um, and then so many friends all throughout the university. So I I don't know, you asked for a couple of relationships. It's nothing but terrific relationships.
Very fair. One surprise blessing, Marianne, that you haven't shared with us yet of your time at Notre Dame.
Um, well, okay, so, but I haven't shared yet because obviously it's all the friends. You know what? I had not expected, I have a lot of nieces and nephews. I'm from a real big family. I was the first in my family to come to Notre Dame undergrad, but 6 of us came here. And then a lot of my nieces and nephews. So I think every year but one since I've been here, I've had at least one niece or nephew here,
Oh,
which is,
nice.
I was not expecting. I was not, well, of course I knew that I was gonna have somebody here, but I wasn't expecting how fun that would be. Not only will I get to know them in a different way. Like I tell them, look, you're entitled to go to college without your aunt, the lawyer, being, um, but I say, you're always welcome. And the kids are at my house. Next Saturday, I'm having a bunch of them in the river because I get to know their friends to cry at graduation, So that I did not expect to get to know so many students and see things through their perspective, and that's been terrific.
That's wonderful. I just have one more question for you, and it's not on the sheet I sent you, but it's been percolating around because I got to interview you on a panel a few months ago, and the question was, what's one thing that's hopeful as you look into the future? And then the second part was, and what keeps you up at night? And I distinctly remember what you said made such an impact on me because I can only imagine some of the things that you and your colleagues carry on your shoulders as leaders. But you said, I sleep very good at night.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Very well, yeah.
the way you articulated why just really made an impact on me. And I wondered if you would share that again with a wider audience.
I hope I remember it.
Well, I hope you slept well last night and tell me why. We'll say that.
Because there are such great people because we know why we're here and what we're doing. And so everything else that gets in the way of achieving what is a terrific, admirable, um, just wonderful goal of educating these leaders for the future who are grounded in moral principles and who are going to go out and be a force for good in the world. I mean, when you're focused on that and you see so many around you who are similarly as committed, then anything that gets in the way is just a little obstacle you can work together to overcome, and it's fun. I think of I mean, we laugh in my office all the time, and that's great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. But you can find when you're working together with people, um, and finding a way to get to where you need to be together when you're so committed and with everybody else. I just am very optimistic, and yeah, there are going to be tough times. Um, Sometimes very tough, and but we're not alone, and I feel good. I hope that's similar to the message you heard me give.
Yes, that's the same answer, possibly even better. And I'm so glad you've had fun. I have fun here too, and that makes me happy.
This has been a fun conversation, Jenna. I really appreciate it.
We hope you'll read Marianne's reflections in a story called Core Confidence. The link is in the show notes, and you can find that story and many others at ndworks.nd.edu. This episode of the ND Works podcast was edited by Michael Weens with original music by Alex Mansour. I'm Jenna Liberto. Thanks for listening.